Mountain, island, lightning bolt, spell pierce, switchblade, stab wound, red mage, blue mage.
Take it away, Santa.
I do have my Santa hat on. Merry Christmas, Magic the Gathering players. It's a very Commander Christmas this time. I don't know when this episode's going to come out. It'll come out way before Christmas.
Or come out after Christmas.
Either way. I mean, I'm already decorated, so I'm good to go. It's always Christmas in my house.
Well, it's just one of those things where we're home all the time now, so might as well decorate way early, because who cares?
Have your house be pretty.
I don't.
Lights.
You know how I decorate for Christmas?
How?
Just throw everything onto the ground.
In a pile.
In a pile, and then you just put some tinsel on it, and you're like, there's my Christmas tree. All of my earthly possessions piled into one corner of the house, and then drop a bunch of tinsel on it. And then at the end of Christmas, you set it all on fire because your new presents come in, and you redecorate and have your entire house with your new possessions.
I was going to say, the real presence was your presence in the present moment.
No.
We have different ideas about what your ritual means.
Yep. Speaking of presents and gifts and such, take it away, Santa!
Speaking of segues, let's pick a card.
Pick a card. You son of a bitch.
It's a gift that keeps on giving. It's like we're making our gift list, our wish list. This is our Christmas checklist. Yeah. Our top 3 things we want that I know all about.
Yeah, we're going to pick our favorite, most interesting, most whatever, just our top 3 picks from the spoilers from Commander Legends.
What's Commander Legends?
So Commander Legends is a draftable set. It's intended to be drafted, where you draft a commander deck.
Oh, how novel of an idea.
I think it actually is really cool. I would love to actually draft it. So there's a few differences. So you draft a deck. You're not building a 100-card deck. You're building a 60-card deck. Because it would be pretty ridiculous to draft 100 cards.
There should be a special mode, like extended versions of Lord of the Rings, where it's like, nope, we're drafting a hundo.
I mean, you could do that. Just instead of 3 packs, you draft 6 packs, and it takes 2 hours. But that'd be fun.
Yeah.
It seems really cool. I think they designed it specifically. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of juice in there for Commander players who'd want to get these cards and use them in their actual constructed Commander decks. But it's also intended to be a draft experience that is focused on you draft a Commander or a partner pair of Commanders, and you build your deck. And it seems really cool. So I'm curious what 3 carefully selected cards you have compiled.
I have pored over these cards for days and days and days, meticulously comparing them side by side, and I was able to...
I can hear you scrolling.
I was able to pick 3 of them. It was a very rigorous test. I had brackets, and there was a showdown as I was looking for what I thought would best suit who I am.
My first pick is Aardvark Annihilator, which just happens to be first alphabetically in the spoiler.
No, obviously not. How about you tell us your third pick first?
Sure. So my third place card is Apex Devastator. What is Apex Devastator, you ask? It is 8 green, so 10 mana for this bad boy. It is a Chimera Hydra, which is pretty cool. It is a 10/10, so it's a 10/10 for 10. And here's what its text box says.
Okay.
Cascade, 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 Cascade.
What does Cascade do again?
So when you cast a card with Cascade, you reveal cards from the top until you reveal something that costs less than it, a spell that costs less.
Okay.
And then you get to cast it for free. So you throw down this 10-drop, and you reveal cards from the top until you reveal 4 spells that cost less than 10, and you get to play all of them for free.
Wow. That seems pretty bullshit.
Well, there are 2 things I like about this card.
Okay.
Thing number 1 I like is just the text box. I love the audacity of a text box that just says Cascade, 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 Cascade. There are a few like simple text box like that really work for me. This isn't on the same level as Protection from Everything and how audacious it is, but it's just so over the top. I really like it. But the thing that puts this on the list for me is the fact that I'm thinking about this from a cube perspective, less than a commander perspective, because I think I'm going to add this to the cube. I really like green. I think green in the cube, especially in my cube, is good, and it gets underdrafted. And part of the problem I had when I was constructing the cube is green has all this amazing ramp to get to huge amounts of mana, but the actual good ramp targets aren't in green. What you really want to be drafting are the colorless Eldrazi, which are just so over the top. So I love that now there is something that you could be aiming for in the green ramp deck that is like a good, worthy target to ramp into. So that's why it makes a list for me, because it's going in the cube.
Cool. That's cool.
I'm scrolling through the spoiler right now.
No, I found, you know what I did is I went to my history thing, and I found back on November 10th when I picked the 3. So I've got them now.
Wow. All right,
But I
well,
can't
give me your number 3.
I can't rember which one's which number though.
Just give them in any order.
Whatever. This is pick number 27. This guy I picked solely because he has a mustache. Bruce Tarl. Boris Huder. I literally just saw he had a mustache and went, yep, I want that card. Because why not? He looks like who played Bane in
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. He looks like Tom Hardy from what's
I
that
know who you're talking
movie?
about. Bronson.
Thank you.
I can read your thoughts.
This is pathetic. I don't know anything, and I'll never grow as a person. So anyway, Bruce Starr, Borge, 2 white and a red. He's a legendary creature, human ally.
Human Alley.
He's a human. I mean, he is pretty wide. Listen, listener. Yeah, that's right. I said listen twice. You're probably thinking, oh, this is a dumb card. You're right. I don't know what. I just literally saw a mustache and then he had a water buffalo or a bison in the background, and it reminded me of an NPC we made up as a group in my Blades in the Dark game named Blundy. Anyway, whenever Bruce Tarl Shooter enters the battlefield or attacks, target creature you control gains double strike and lifelink into end of turn. He's a partner. He could have a partner. He is looking for a partner.
He also, speaking of, you said he looks like Bronson. He also looks like Braum from League of Legends.
Do not know.
Big, strong man with a twirly mustache.
That's all I want to be. That's what I want to be when I grow up. I want a herd water buffalo.
Herder.
I want to be named a Bruce Tower. Bruce Herder. He's amazing. Just looking at him.
I do like, there are so many legendary, I put that in quotes, characters in Magic that are just kind of run together and don't feel that unique. Mm-hmm. I do like the art here presented. It's like we don't get to see characters that look like this in Magic.
Yeah, I'm kid you
He's
not.
a thick boy.
I kid you not. This character and what he's doing, and the fact that he has partner, cracked me up because we made a character in our Blades in the Dark game set in Mox Fairy named Blundy, where he was a herder and he had a twirly mustache, a big bushy mustache, and a corncob pipe. So if they had a corncob pipe, this would be amazing. But it
That
just
would take
feels
it to 10 out of 10.
this just justifies how good and creative I am as a person. Because look, He exists now on a Magic the Gathering card. So Bruce Tarl, in my book, will always be called Blundy. His real name is Blunderbuss.
He goes by Blundy.
So that's my whatever pick.
That's a good pick. I respect that.
No, don't coddle me.
Respect me.
Don't coddle me. Don't respect me. Don't try to make me feel better about how I pick things. Anyway, your turn. So I may poo on your choices.
Yeah, go for it. My number 2 pick is Yurlok of Scorched Thrash. He gets 1 minus point from me because that name sucks.
Yeah, I was just saying, that is a terrible name.
It's just a blob
Say it
of
again.
nonsense, and it's hard to say. Yurlok of Scorched Thrash. Yeah, it's not a good name, all right?
Something Blunderbuss has on his butt.
Yeah, fully admit that it's not a good name. But here's what the card is. 1 black, red, green for a legendary creature, Viashano Shaman. It is a 4/4 with vigilance. It says a player losing unspent mana causes that player to lose that much life.
Burn.
So it brings mana burn back into the game. And its activated ability is 1, tap, each player adds black, red, green to their mana pool.
Okay.
I think this is like a really interesting, clever design. 1, bringing back mana burn is just fun in general, and it gets my mind going on like, what are all the cards in Magic that give other players mana? How do I bring them all together? I remember I think it's called Tangle Blossom, Tangle Bloom,
Tangle Tit.
Yeah, that's the one.
Tangle Tit.
It was in Mirrodin, and it gives green mana, like a bunch of green mana to each of your opponents, I think every upkeep or something like that. But it just makes me want to go through the Gatherer and find all the cards that donate mana to my opponents so they can take burn. I also really like, because Commander is such a political game, I like that you can give your opponents 3 mana. Like, so you can say, hey, this turn, I will give you 3 mana that you can use if you do X for me at some point. Or if you do X right now, I'll give you 3 mana to use. I think that's pretty cool.
No.
I think it's a cool design.
No.
It is a cool design.
Look. Sure. For people who have brains and want to play a game's game inside of a game. But for me and Blundy, we're just here to stroke our mustaches and
we're just here for the
and
mustaches.
throw bison at you.
All right, give me your number 2 pick.
But for real, that is a cool card. Anyway, let's see. Who do I want to choose? There's 2 of them. Which one do I like more than the other? Let's do this one because he's not that. So I, of course, just scrolled through the red section. That's all I care about. Except for Blundy, who is... Well, he's red as well.
He is red too.
Red and white. So, just looking through what kind of goblins we got, what kind of other fun things we got, and I just like this character's name and what he looks like and what he is, which is Rogrock, son of Rock.
Well, funny enough, we can both talk about this because this is actually my number 1 pick.
Really?
It is. The first time we've ever overlapped ever
I
on
think
these.
so. What episode number is this? 5,202?
Yeah, this will be like 90, something like that.
Okay. Rogrock, son of Rock. He is a legendary creature. Obviously, we're talking about commanders. Dumbass Amber. Kobold warrior. First strike, menace, trample. Partner. You could have 2 commanders. Everybody knows, you idiot. Strength is relative. He's a 0/1, and he costs nothing. However, doesn't he transform?
He does not.
What is his deal?
So he has the little color pip
Yeah.
next to the legendary creature, and that's because he costs 0. So without any additional text, he wouldn't have a color. And so that color pip shows this is a red card,
Gotcha.
despite the fact that it doesn't have mana cost.
So yeah, there he is. Strength is relative. 0/1. First strike, menace, trample.
I was listening to recently a great series in limited resources. Every few months they do this where they go back to one of the ancient old sets in Magic and review it and give their feedback, their critique, their praise of what the set is doing. And so this is a callback. There are a lot of callbacks in Commander Legends. This is a callback to some old cards. There's this whole series of kobolds that all cost 0 and were all 0/1s. And Roga, so this is Rogrok, son of Roga. Roga was one of those legends. And they were talking about it's so funny to look at the power creep, put that in quotation marks as well, of 0 mana cost creatures. Because previously they were just literally 0 mana 0/1s. And then you would get the Lord, the Kobold Lord, that would give all kobolds trample, even though they don't have any power. And now you get a 0 mana 0/1 that has First Strike, Menace, and Trample already built in.
Yeah, I mean, you just proliferate his ass. Or do
So what do you like about this card?
The 0/0/1 First Strike, Menace, Trample, and he's a Kobold Warrior, and the strength is relative.
You do love keywords, and this one's
Full of them.
A lot of keywords, a lot of bang for your buck. Your $0 buy you a lot of keywords with this guy.
True. So I guess I just go talk to my first one since you have no more cards to talk about.
Yeah, I guess I would just add here, this one, I tend to like the commanders that feel like puzzles. I like the commanders that, same as the last one, Yogsnoth of Scorch Thrash or whatever his name was, that are get your brain going about how you would make this work and what kind of cards you would bring in.
Yes.
And this one does that for me, where it's okay, 0 mana 0/1 with a bunch of keywords. How do you make that good? How do you optimize that? I think that really gets my gears going.
Yeah, exactly. What do I do to make this actually work as a card in a commander game?
Yeah.
All right.
Number one. It was a toss-up. There's no numbering system. I just picked a bunch of cards. This is Krark! The Thumbless! Yeah, that makes sense.
Krark! The Thumbless only costs 1 and a red. He's a legendary creature, Goblin Wizard. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, flip a coin. Hee hee. If you lose the flip, return that spell to its owner's hand. If you win the flip, copy that spell, and you may choose new targets for the copy. Double or nothing, baby. Also partner.
I love the flavor text on this guy. Krark the Thumbless. So he bet his thumb and he said double or nothing. It tells such a succinct little story and tells you a lot about this character in such a tiny amount of space.
How are you gonna flip a coin with no thumbs, Krark?
That's true. I guess he's not the one flipping.
I mean, he is, because that's me. It looks just like me. They did a really good job with the art direction to say, okay, make it look like Red Mage, Rocket Orca, Amber, and bam. God, beautiful. It's me.
Truly exquisite.
If you look at Krark, the Thumbless, it's just a picture of me.
Do you know that Krark the Thumbless is a callback to an older card?
No, I know nothing of magic.
So there was an artifact in Mirrodin called Krark's Thumb. And what it did was, anytime you would flip a coin, I believe this is right, anytime you would flip a coin, you flip 2 coins instead, and you keep one of them.
Well, now he's back. Wants his thumb. Put that in your commander deck. Make a Krark deck. There's nothing but cards to make you flip things.
Yeah, exactly. Again, does the thing where it's it gets your brain going on how do I optimize this?
Just a flipping coins, flipping cards, an instant sorcery nightmare. Why have I been talking like this the entire time?
I don't know. I think this is just becoming your normal voice, judging by our role-playing game that we're in as well.
I don't understand what's happened. It's probably this bacon. I've been eating bacon this entire time.
That makes you want to be fancy.
It's fancy bacon. It's pre-cooked. I didn't have to cook it. Came in a bag. Unzipped it, pulled some bacon out. Made for me already.
Shove it in your mouth hole.
Don't even have to refrigerate it.
It's turning into 1940s guy.
Clark would love this bacon.
Okay. There's the top 3 lists. We overlapped for the first time ever. A momentous occasion, to be sure. Now I want to turn and have just a brief conversation about Commander Legends in general. So let us enter a civilized, scholarly discussion.
But I'm a homicidal brute.
Once again, it's time for an academic debate between a civilized scholar and a homicidal brute. Let's begin.
Perfect. Then you're exactly right for this segment.
Great. Let's talk about it.
So there's a few different things going on here. There's discussion when the spoilers started up about some specific cards. And so maybe we can start there. We can start with the elephant in the room as far as Commander Legends goes. The card that generated the most discussion.
Okay.
Which was Jeweled Lotus. So it's got Lotus in the name, so you know it's going to be something. It's a 0 mana artifact. Tap, sacrifice it, add 3 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast your commander.
Okay.
So it is a straight up Black Lotus, but only to cast your commander. And when this card got spoiled, people lost their shit.
Why?
Because they're like, you're printing Black Lotus for commander. That's just way too powerful.
Okay.
And I was kind of on that fence. I didn't think it was too powerful, but this falls in the same category that we've talked about before with Command Tower, with Arcane Signet, where it's just like, I don't like... This is kind of the opposite to me of those cards, which is like, it's a puzzle. How do you build a good version of this deck? Instead, you're getting this colorless, generically good, generically powerful thing that you can put into your commander deck. So I just don't like how generic it is, I guess, is my personal problem with it.
Generic in what way? Like, what do you mean?
Generic in the sense that it's like... So, my most hated card, if you remember from way back in episode 3 or whatever, was Sol Ring. And I used to have it in my cube, and I've removed it from the cube. For kind of the same reason, where it's like, every deck wants it, and so it just turns into like a little lottery of, am I going to get it? And that's what Jeweled Lotus is to me as well. I don't necessarily think that it, like, I think Sol Ring is much, much better than Jeweled Lotus, and Sol Ring is legal in Commander. But it feels the same thing where it could just go into any deck and it's going to be generically good. That's less interesting to me than I'm playing Bruce Tarl, Borj Herder, and how do I pick the cards that are going to work well with this commander?
What if it was a special Lotus that was like only thumbless creatures could use this mana?
I mean, that would be a better restriction than what we have currently, which is just it can go anywhere and do anything. Yeah, I want some hoops to jump through for some of these cards.
So, what I'm hearing is have a special flower for each crazy random shit that you can think of that could give you a mana boost that prompts creativity.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't even have to be a flower. It could be anything. But if it's flavorful or sparks creativity in some way, instead of just being like, here's some mana.
Exactly. I mean, I kind of have a problem, and I think about this every once in a while with the cube as well, where I have the full cycle of signets, the original Ravnican signets in there. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of weird because those are all colorless ways to ramp. So ramp is green's thing, but now any deck has access to it. And the same with a bunch of mana rocks. I mean, mana rocks are kind of a staple of Commander, but I don't know that that's necessarily the best thing. Again, just kind of generic power.
The reason why I think there are these, artifacts and stuff like that is just because obviously if it's a creature, it's not going to last long, potentially, to get that recurring benefit, essentially. I don't know.
And the fact that you can throw it in any deck.
I think they could do better, like you said, with flavor that sparks creativity, like they do with like commanders and flavor text and not flavor text, but the actual like keywords and stuff like that, where it's like, oh, okay, what do I do with this? Instead of it being like, oh, yep, here's 3 mana for your commander. The restriction of it just goes to your commander isn't enough.
Yeah, it just them just giving it to you on a plate, like here you go, like that's less interesting to me. Speaking of which, another card that sparked some controversy is Tevesh Zat, Doom of Fools. So this is 4 and a black for a legendary planeswalker. It has 3 different loyalty abilities. +2, create 2 0/1 black thrall creature tokens. +1, you may sacrifice another creature or planeswalker. If you do, draw 2 cards, then draw another card if the sacrificed permanent was a commander. -10, gain control of all commanders. Put all commanders from the command zone onto the battlefield under your control. And of course, Tevesh Zat can be your commander. And he has partner, which means that if you have 2 different commanders that both have partner, you can have 2 commanders.
Yeah.
So you were kind of rolling your eyes at the +1 ability where you can sacrifice a creature, and then if it's a commander, you get an extra card.
Yeah. It's because it's not really a sacrifice other than it's going to cost you mana. And in a commander game, that's not really like a concern, I think.
Yeah. He is like self-fueling, obviously, because he makes these little throw creatures that you can then sacrifice with his +1 to draw 2 cards.
Plus, what you could do is you could have him partnered up with a 0-cost commander who, you know, you already have a heads up, essentially, if you bring him in to sacrifice that, and then it's like, oh, okay, he's only going to cost 2 next time or whatever. So
right.
It's like you're only making your 0/1 commander 0 cost your cost only 2, so then you could therefore just be sacrificing your little shitty commander and then getting an extra card for card advantage, and that's just 2 mana to bring him back in to sacrifice him again, you know.
Yeah, if you partner him with Rock, then basically Tevesh reads 5 mana, you bring him into play, +1, a loyalty, draw 3 cards. Like, and now he's at 5 loyalty. It's kind of nuts.
Yep.
So he's definitely, the power level is there, for sure. Can I tell you what bothers me about him? And this is just a bigger discussion in general. I don't really like the partner mechanic.
I don't see what it does, like, to the advantages. I mean, maybe you can make like a really cool combo with 2 commanders, but like, I thought commander, it's a weird, okay, so this is on several levels. One, from a game perspective, it's like, okay, commander, you have one who is commanding the thing. Yes, you could co-command, that's fine, okay, cool. But then for me, it's like a weird, like, 2 become 1 situation where it's like, I don't know, I don't really get it. I don't know, where did this come from? Is this new?
This is a recurring thing. This has been used before. I want to say Battle Bond maybe first introduced partner, but it's been in products before. In fact, your choice, the Boorish Hoarder, he is a reprint, actually.
Oh, is he?
Mm-hmm.
Did not know.
That's completely fine. But yeah, it is a mechanic that we've seen before. I mean, the advantage, like, from just a game perspective, if you're trying to make a busted deck, the advantage is you open yourself up to more colors.
Yep.
You have access to more colors when you have 2 partners. You also basically have an extra card in your hand from the beginning of the game.
Yep.
And much in the same way of Companion. Mm-hmm. You just have this extra card. And I think what this particular commander exemplifies, and my big problem, is that it has partner, but it's not like it's weaker than a normal. If this was just a commander by itself, this would be a pretty strong commander, mono black commander. Mm-hmm. And it just has partner on top of everything else. So it's like, what's the downside, really, of this dude?
There is none. Put him in your deck. Get a little kobold warrior and sacrifice him and draw cards. Who cares?
Yeah, so I'm not crazy about it. This also, so this character Tevesh Zot is an old school Magic the Gathering character. There are a bunch of those in Commander Legends that have gotten cards. And then the last subject that I want to briefly touch on is bringing back these old characters and giving them these cards, and then throwing on things like partner on top of them, like Tevesh Zot, Doom of Fools. And if you look at the art, he's like a weird kraken squid evil snake Medusa man. Like he looks like what you would think Doom of Fools would look like. Why does he have partner?
You said what Doom of Fools would look like, and I don't know, immediately put him in a jester hat. So
No, he's not a fool. He is the Doom of Fools.
well, I thought the Doom was like a title, like, King of Fools, or like,
that's interesting.
I am the Doom. And
I am Doom Jeffrey.
what's worse than seeing yourself reflected back in a horror before your death? So he perpetually looks like a fool.
Yeah, I can see that.
Anyway.
The point I want to make is you have these ancient, like these are legendary, not in game sense, but like these legendary characters from old school Magic that have a lot of prestige, I guess, surrounding them. And to see them just brought into and like not get a unique design that speaks to what this character is, but just get sort of like stuff thrown on top. Like we got a new version of Acroma, which is kind of wild.
Yeah.
And she has partner.
It's like, why?
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's not, it's again going back to the Lotus.
Yes.
Where it's like, oh, we're just doing this because we're putting mechanics first over everything else rather than story. And the sweet spot of Magic is when it's a perfect alignment of storytelling and mechanics, and they, hand in hand go together really well. And
right.
It doesn't make, yeah.
Like if they wanted to like drill down, because I understand from a gameplay perspective, partner is great for this draft environment, because like we said, this set is meant to be drafted. Mm-hmm. So the fact that you can partner opens up a lot of different options and lets you do new things and build interesting decks when you're drafting this set. Mm-hmm. So I totally get it. I just don't like that we're dredging up these old characters and slapping partner on every single one of them. It just feels kind of weird to me.
It does feel, whatever.
Like that's kind of my one strike against Rock is that he has partner. In his case, it makes a little more sense because it's so minimal what he's giving you.
Yeah.
It's a 0 mana 0/1 with some keywords, but it still is just like, oh man, this card is so cool. Why does it have to also have this extra thing?
Because Scrimshanks Jangleclaws or whatever the fuck card that gets to sacrifice to +1 and get an extra card. What was that guy's name? Doom of Fools?
Scrimshanks Jangleclaws.
What was that guy's name?
Tevesh Zot, Doom of Fools.
Oh, okay. Close. He exists for that man. That squid boy. Gesture dude.
I would be very interested to see you draw this character without having seen the art.
He's juggling skulls, so there's that. And you said he has tentacles, so they're everywhere.
Yeah. Lots of skulls.
Lots of skulls, lots of tentacles, and he's wearing a fake mustache and like a Groucho Marx eyeglass mustache nose situation. Yeah, that.
Man.
Smoking a cigar, chomping on it. A skull is a lighter, and he's like flipped the top open, and it's like got a flame coming out of it. And he's lighting his cigar as he's like juggling other skulls that are wearing gesture hats or skeletons. He's juggling skeletons too, and they're wearing the Harlequin looking diamond shaped bodysuits. It's a whole thing. Hire me, wizards, for your art direction. I could
I
tell.
want to see this art first before I make a
No,
decision.
no, no. I'm an
Iron
art
Man.
director, not an artist.
I don't do art.
I just say, this is what the vision is.
I want this job.
Please, sir or madam or person of non-binary alignment, here you go. Here's art for you to draw. It is a squid man juggling skeletons and skulls.
This is a good pitch.
What were we talking about? Oh yeah, partner stupid.
Yeah.
To just slap it on willy-nilly on anything.
That's what it feels like. I mean, in general, this set, it feels like there's a pretty strong line between cool top-down designs and then just like very sort of naked, we need these mechanics. Like, a lot of the stuff feels a little bit like Changeling in Lorwyn, where it's like, we have this hyper-focused tribal theme. We need players to be able to draft tribal. So here's Changeling. Like, these creatures have all types. It just feels like cutting the Gordian knot a little bit. It's not a very elegant fix,
Right.
in my opinion. And it undermines something basic about Commander. Like, I don't like... It's kind of similar to, like, making Planeswalkers into Commanders. It's just taking one of the basic foundational rules of the game and be like, nope, get rid of that.
Yeah.
It's like if you had some card in standard Magic that was like, if this card's in your deck, you only have to have 40 cards in your deck. It's like, what? Why?
Why?
This is a basic thing about this format. Anyway, I think that's enough of us yelling at the clouds, yelling at the sky. I think we can wrap up there.
Okay.
Take us away, Amber.
What? I'm not Amber. What?
Are you Rog Rock?
I'm Krark! The thumbless!
Take it away, Krark.
What am I taking and where am I putting it?
In the show, Krark.
Oh! Goodbye! The show is over!
Bye. Goodbye.
If you want to find Krark, you could go to twitter.com/rocketorca. What a weird way to say I'm on Twitter. Go to twitter.com/rocketorca. You'll find me.
There.
If you... God, I'm terrible at ending things. Kenny, if people want to find you, where do they do that?
I'm on Twitter at Wolfmere.
Twitter.com/Wolfmere. How do you spell that?
VOLFMYR.
Just in case somebody wants to put an I.
Just like it sounds.
And if you want to follow the show, aka Kenny, who does all of the tweeting, you can go to twitters.com/RedBlueMTG.
That's correct.
And then go to geekspective.com because that's where everything else I do and we do together exists.
Very true.
Okay, can I go now?
Well done. Yeah, you're good.
Was that? Did Croc do well?
I give it 2 thumbs out of 0.
Okay, bye.